Alright everyone, welcome back. Who remembers when PvP was at least somewhat enjoyable in The Division? I know I do, and I've recently came to the realization of just how important PvP is to the Division franchise and why, against what I've said a few times over the last couple of years, I'm taking a 180 turn and encouraging Massive to pour resources into making PvP fun again. When I say Massive, who I'm really referring to is Ubisoft, as they ultimately hold all the power. They have all the money at the end of the day. So drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all my videos, and let me explain why I've taken such a drastic U-turn here. If you've been watching me for some time, you might have noticed that my videos have dried up of late. Now, there are IRL reasons for this, preparing for a new addition to our family and other things going on as well, but also because I feel there are just huge gaps in the content for The Division 2, meaning there are long periods of time with very little to do. Now is a perfect example. We've had the latest content that's been kind of delayed, and we're currently just sat there doing nothing. And this is what I mean by there are periods of time in this game where, and these are long periods of time where we're simply not able really to do anything. And even when we do have, a new manhunt target to pursue, this mission, generally speaking, is pretty short. The whole manhunt target phase is pretty short. It normally takes, less than an hour to complete it. The only thing I have found that actually keeps me playing in between manhunt targets are vanity events. And even then, I have to really, really love that event if I'm going to kind of no-life it. And there hasn't been many, off the top of my head, that I can think of that have been able to do that. Dark Path, the next event. Now, this does look like one I'm going to love, so I'm very excited for that. The mask alone looks like something that I'm really going to want to get. And of course, if there are a lot of other pieces that I'm going to want, then I'm going to get those. But I'm not a completionist. That's not who I am. So I don't have to get a whole set of something. If I only like the pair of boots or only like a top, that's all I'm going to get, and then I'm basically going to stop. Now, back in The Division, when there were no PvE content to kind of play, no new content coming out, then I was playing PvP. And of course, towards the end of that game's life cycle, that's where I spent pretty much all of my time. But here with The Division 2, I've not got that same urge, because PvP, as we all know, it's been very neglected. It was actually a tweet from Sir Demetrius, I believe, about Destiny 2 that made me really think about this and U-turn on my position. He tweeted saying the following: "Damn, I'm starting to think that having a solid PvP could maybe carry the game through content droughts. Just my 2 cents." The funny thing about this tweet is Bungie not long after announced sweeping changes to PvP in Destiny, including a ranking system, among many other things. It appears that Bungie were having the same feeling as a lot of the community for Destiny and acted on this, even though players have probably been asking for this since the day it launched. They finally did it. What The Division did was create PvP that, wasn't always balanced, and of course there were some horrible times like the one-shot Seeker Mind era, which nearly made me quit that game. But it was, at the very least, fast-paced, action-packed fun most of the time. Now, Red Storm decided with The Division 2 they take a more slow-paced, methodical PvP approach, and what they created was, and still is, a ball fest. Plus the fact you have the game-breaking bugs that come out quite often. We have a new one rearing its head every couple of weeks. I mean, we already knew that PvP was going to be bad as soon as we realised what they did with the medkits, and to this day that's still not really been fixed, or hasn't been fixed, and they've really done nothing with PvP in this game. Absolutely nothing at all. It basically is what PvP was when the game first came out, except for there are some different balance and stuff. Now, I've made a ton of videos in the last couple of years saying how The Division 2 had turned me from being a PvP player to exclusively a PvE player, and that's still partly true. With that said, I've been spending a lot of time playing Modern Warfare 2, and both in the normal mode and the third person mode, which, you know, again, this game has a lot of problems, but at least in sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is fun. I still have a PvP hunger in me, but the Division 2 does not offer a good PvP experience, and that's why I don't really play the game too much between new PvE content. I really think it needs to have a good PvP experience. I can guarantee you that many people, including me, would jump into the game daily if PvP was any good. Instead of playing Modern Warfare 2, something I've been doing for the last couple of weeks on nearly a daily basis at this point, I'd much rather be playing PvP in the Division 2, because I actually enjoy PvP in the Division more than I enjoy Modern Warfare 2, for example. I know if they remastered the Division and it had a thriving player base, I'd be in there every single day in Last Stand, Skirmish, whatever it is, just as I was many years ago when the Division had a player base. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below if you're on the same level as me here, or am I on my own. I've seen so many comments from previous players who've moved away because PvP was just so bad in this game. It's the bridge for them, and that is the bridge for many people between content droughts. There's still a huge audience. I know there's still a huge audience just waiting to return to the Division, and I know that if Massive were to make PvP great, those players would come back. There's a reason why Bungie and many other studios with successful looter games do their best to keep PvP alive and kicking. They understand that a vast portion of their community use PvE as a stepping stone for PvP. This is how I personally have always played looter games. I'd do all of the PvE stuff to get the gear, you know, to get the weapons, to get the items, whatever it is, so that I could use those in PvP. I did that in the Division 1. I've just not been able to do that in the Division 2, because as soon as I go into the Dark Zone or Skirmish or whatever it is, I instantly regret it. I just wish Ubisoft would give Massive the budget and the team to focus on PvP, because this is very much up to Ubisoft. I think it's safe to assume the largest portion of the community will be PvE players. They're going to be PvE driven. So it makes sense that Massive focus their efforts there with the limited resources they have. Now, I do know that Massive the team for the Division 2 are at capacity. They're at full capacity, but that doesn't include what the Division 2 initially had, which was Redstorm. You know, Yannick has said before that Massive don't really deal with PvP, which is why Redstorm made PvP in the Division 2, and I believe they also made PvP in the Division as well. That's why Avatar, I don't believe, has PvP, and I don't believe the new Star Wars game that Massive are working on will have PvP either. And if they do, it won't be Massive that make that PvP, it will be another studio coming in to help. So I do hope that Ubisoft, who have recently said the Division IP is amongst their 3 largest and their focus, you know, we've got the Division, we've got Assassin's Creed, and we've got Rainbow Six. They were mentioned in the earnings report as being, you know, Ubisoft's IPs, that their focus for the future. I would hope with that in mind, they give Massive the budget to, or give Massive a studio to work on PvP, because I think the game really needs it. Now, that's it for today's video. I know there's going to be many of you who will disagree with me here, and if you do, drop a like and down below, and leave a comment as well if you'd rather this just be a PvE only game, which is what I wanted it to become not so long ago, until you know what it is, guys, it's not just this tweet, it's that I've been playing other games recently and I've had that PvP urge. When Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was like, I've got to get it because I need to play PvP. I just miss it so much. And Modern Warfare 2, guys, is not a good game, in my opinion. The third person mode is okay, but generally speaking, the game, for me, small review, is not a good game. It's not the Call of Duty that I grew up on, for many reasons. However, it is PvP, and it is a game that I can play that's PvP based, and it has good gunplay, and it has all that good stuff in that respect. And so I've been playing that, and it's that combined with the tweet that's made me think, you know what, the Division needs PvP. It just does. You know, the game was sold with the Dark Zone. That's what it was. It was, you know, the Dark Zone sold the Division, the first Division game. And it was part of the marketing. It's part of the Division 2 marketing as well. I feel like Massive are moving away from that. I really wish they wouldn't. And I would hope that Ubisoft would realise that PvP is so important to this game. I don't think this game will be as successful if they just focus on PvE anymore. I feel like there has to be a PvP element. That's it, guys. I am just rambling here, completely off script, just rambling at this point. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Have you changed your mind? Do you think this game needs PvP, or do you think this game just absolutely does not? They need to get rid of it so you don't have to worry about any of that PvP stuff, and they need to focus solely on PvE, which is what I thought they needed to do until now. Until the next one, guys, epic out.